Right. My head's so shiny. Cute. Hey friend, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. I'm Jeff. I'm an artist, illustrator, and maker, and today I'm doing a sketchbook challenge where I'll be drawing inspiration from the Mirror music video from musician Sigrid. So this concept of using music videos as inspiration for illustrations was the original idea of why I wanted to start this channel. I love music. I'm not musically inclined in the slightest. I've always had friends who are musical, and I've always been the one who's been, you know, the clapper-honorer in the audience. Many of Battle of Bands have been gone to when I was a kid living in country New South Wales. Yeah, I've just always loved music. I've always loved being in that world, but never obviously been a musician. So for me, I've always been on the hunt for new music videos, new musicians that I really love. And I think the best thing about music videos is that they're, 3 minutes of art, creative explosion. Things don't have to make sense. They can be as wild and creative and surreal and beautiful or ugly or whatever as the director and the creative director people want them to be and the musicians want them to be. So I've got my iPad loaded up, ready to go. And so what I'll do is just watch the music video through. As I find something that could be interesting, I'm going to stop it, do quick sketches, and just see how many ideas I can come up with. So let's get going. I'm still not sure how I'm going to do the audio for this, so you might just hear the audio really softly. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, instantly, the lizard on the shoulder is quite cool. So let's just... I don't want to spend too much time doing details. I just want to get the initial concept down. The best thing about Sigrid, or one of the best things, is that I always know that she's going to have really interesting visuals. All of her music videos are really cool and usually quite simple in production value, but look great. Oh, that foot will be hard. Oh, that's bad. Hair. And then some kind of... I'm just going to exaggerate the tail. And let's just put that arm in, even though you can't see it. Alright. New layer, continue. Yeah, lizard's cool. Really cool. Yeah, okay. Freeze frame. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Really interesting dress, obviously, but the arrow going into a pomegranate, I kind of want to sort of think of it as almost like a flat, two-dimensional shape, and that could be anything with like an arrow going in. Or maybe there's like a portal that it's shooting through into, like an apple or something. Okay. Oh, do I want to do that outfit? No, I'll keep going. Cool interior. Yeah, okay. Do this space is really interesting shapes. It looks very like space-like. Um, some new layer here. So you've got like this oval bathtub, but I'm just gonna do like a pool, and then in the foreground it's kind of like let's do that part, turn this into a bench. I like this could be like a freestanding sort of like curve wall that goes around the back, maybe come down to here. The flooring, it goes up where like the marble like goes up like an inch or so up the side of the bathtub. So I like that idea that the floor pattern could, you know, go up like this. What else from it? The paneling, like the pattern contrast. So I think that already naturally plays in with what I've been drawing. And let's just like put in these lighting things here because they're two objects that they could be anything. And let's also put in this part as another object. Not even going to look at the mirroring yet because I think there's going to be more mirror referencing in this coming up. And let's just draw that too. So there's something there. Just, yeah, using the framework. Pretty nice portrait. Let's just throw the shape in really quickly. I like the singlets. This is sort of like a task that I've been giving myself of late, is trying to get better at just doing my own interpretations of what portraits could look like in my style and getting more comfortable just just creating them as like a reference, or I should say like from a reference. Big eyes. Which is pretty big lips. And I kind of want to put in those. And maybe not looking straight at the camera. I also like this shadowing on the sides. You know, maybe there's those earrings from the very first part. Okay, next. Cool mirrors. Yeah, there's some good reflection stuff happening. Sick outfit! Even just something simple as, so there was those hands holding the shards of mirror. So even, I mean, it doesn't have to end up being a mirror. This is kind of looking like a pizza at the moment. But this is one of the only way that I can draw hands, is by, I have to look at my own. No, that would kind of Oh my god, what? Maybe that goes down like that. And oh my god, I'm not recording this. Oh yeah, I am. Poof. Yeah. What could this thing be? And then cool. All right. I really like the dress, but I think it's too much of a given. That outfit. No. I want the snow bunny look. I'm not allowed to go back. That's a new rule that I'm giving myself. No. See, everything's really simple. It's just a big house. There's some cool costumes, but like the stage is just set. So it's all just like well designed, but not over the top. Everything she wears is just like jeans and a t-shirt when she's not in like some kind of crazy outfit. It's, you know, lizard sitting on her shoulder. There's just something about the sort of like effortlessly cool vibe that she has, which is what has always drawn me to her. And what I think is good design, when you can take simple things and make them look really good. All right, fingers crossed I can get this snow bunny outfit. I mean, actually, while I'm frozen here, this couch, let's throw that in because it's... I like that they are kind of blobby. Yeah, I like that. I could... Maybe I'll draw some other... just to give myself some more information to go from. The table. There's things on it, but I don't really want to draw them completely the same. Okay, that's it. Okay, this is the mirror part. This is the mirror part that I need. All right. I like the idea of symmetry, so what if it's like, and maybe I'll draw them first. Some kind of bodies. Some kind of shape. Maybe I'll put her big bow in here as like a reference. Okay. This one's more of just like the concept, rather than going directly from what's in the music video. If I duplicate that, flip it, merge them down, and then this like then that. I mean, it's almost like a doorway, really. I think that's that idea. just quickly wanted to draw these sort of like doorway mirror reflection things. That's something that's already very much in my wheelhouse. And, you know, left of field way of writing all the credits. Kind of cool. I mean, what about the lyric? Just fell in love with the person in the mirror. But it's like, you know, these could be the doorways, mirror things. Another idea. I think that's it. Cool. All right, so that's the first stage. Really cool music video. I really, like I said at the beginning, love the way that Sigrid always approaches the art, the creative direction of what they do. Lots of examples here. So yeah, let's go through them and choose one to then turn into an actual artwork. Lizard, 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 a lizard. I'm back. So I just went through and chose 3 of the designs and fleshed them out a little bit more and tried to work out if there was a concept in there for me. The first one was the lizard on the shoulder. I used the liquefier tool and I just started to play around with the silhouette and just make things different so it didn't feel as a direct human looking figure, a bit more blobby, a little bit more surreal, a little bit more chunky. And so from there I wanted to make it really transparent and then create the next layer. I really like it. It's pretty nice and cute. I could imagine this being like a figure that sits around in a park scene. And then I added the lizard. I think it could just be a cute little sticker or something, or I could imagine them sitting around with other people and maybe everyone's got lizards on them. I don't know, but it's, you know, it's passable as a concept. I could develop that more. And I also, obviously, I flipped it to be, she was facing the other way. And just by simply flipping something into like, or rotating something, and instantly just like gives me a fresh perspective. I wasn't going back to my original image as much, or like the original image from the still from the music video for a comparison anymore. I was just looking at my liquefied version as my reference point, if that makes sense. So yeah, so we've got girl with lizard, could be kind of cute, could be fun to evolve. And then the final one I wanted to play around with was that I really liked this concept. I really liked this idea of a reflection. I haven't really played too much around with reflections and lighting and shadowing in my illustrative work. So what I did was to start off really basic, you know, right mirror, really straight forward in like sort of like a doorway shape. So then what I did was turn into 3D lettering, and I wanted to, you know, actually put it on perspective so it is like this doorway shape, and then go, okay, how can I create the mirror of that? And then it turned into, oh my god, my iPad is shitting itself, into this. And I really like this. This is really simple and effective, kind of noir kind of feel. And I want to play around it more with other sorts of silhouettes. So I think the idea of writing the word mirror is just like too meh. Like, of course, you're going to do a reflection with the mirror. But if I could play around with maybe some like flower silhouettes that then reflect on the floor, or maybe like my eye motif that reflects on the floor, and then like what's in this area around it, that's what I really want to play with. So that's what I'm gonna do is go away now and explore this concept. Probably will do it as like a time lapse. I might just show you the end result, just depends on how it evolves. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do next, and enjoy. Hello again, I'm back. First video in my studio, which feels really good. This has been like years, like 2 years in the making. So it feels good to finally film the first thing in here. So I've gone and done some more drawing, and I've really pushed the idea. So let's get into what I've further developed. So like I said just before, I wanted to explore the idea of the mirror and like concept and see how far I could push it. I decided to go back and use the lyrics from the chorus just as a way to sort of explore a more substantial subject. So, you know, I got the lyrics, I typed them out, I then did my own version of them. I then still wanted to keep that doorway arch kind of feel, so I decided to write with the liquefier tool, just like turn it into a doorway arch kind of shape and just make it more blobby. And then from there, you know, I just kept on refining it and refining it and refining it until I got to sort of this point. And then I turned it into this. And I think it's like really cool. It definitely obviously gives off the shadowing effect. I kind of really like that it looks like a love heart as well, which could be great. And then from here, I wanted to push it even further, and I wanted to try and see if I could put it into an actual landscape as if it was a doorway. I also wanted to see what it would be like with my flowers, or like more of my illustrative style in it as well. So I went and did this flower arch, wanted to add some detail, and then did the same effect. So it turned into sort of this doorway arch, and then the reflection. Again, love that it looks like this love heart, and it just looks pretty good, pretty cool. I love it. From there, I wanted to push it some more, so maybe do like the negative space. So by flipping the counterpoint into the opposite, I guess it's called, it really makes it become a shadow even more. And then I wanted to push it some more, and I decided to put in this additional doorway like this. And this is it. This is a really strong concept. I really love it. I can see how this could turn into so many more things. For me, looking at this, there's a few different potential ideas I could further push. I love the idea that it could be quite sculptural. It looks like light play, so, you know, like physically making something that feels like a still sculpture or something, but, you know, I could make it out of cardboard, making some kind of like object and starting to do lighting through it and taking some photos. I like the idea of time lapse, you know, in like time lapse videos where like the sun and shadowing moves across slowly. I like the idea of maybe making something like this and then putting light through it and then filming it. So I start to make some really cool videos in that way, a bit more artful, I guess. I could make some things in like a 3D modeling app and then play around with lighting in that. So if I don't want to physically make it, I could digitally make it. That could be really good. It definitely, for me, lends itself to a concept for public art or some kind of client project. I could see it. Maybe even a mural concept where a mural sort of starts on the wall and reflects down onto the ground. I think that's my favorite. I literally just thought of it just then. Yeah, I want to paint a mural that sort of starts up there and reflects the shadow onto the ground. That could be great. So lots of different ideas. That's where I'm going to leave it for this concept. But I did decide to go off and work on the lizard on the shoulder artwork as well. I just couldn't help myself. It was just something that I wanted to do. So here's the drawing that I did. I think this might be a slightly more refined version of what I drew in the original first step. Then I again pulled out the liquefier tool on Fresco and just started to warp and play with the body a lot more. I like the idea that with the liquefier I can really warp the body so it doesn't feel like it has to be as realistic. I'm someone who has been trained all my life to draw realism and not be good at it, so the liquefier helps me to really exaggerate things and frees me up to just, you know, suggest the shape of the body, but it doesn't have to look real in terms of perspective or like anatomically correct. So I did the liquefier. I then pushed that even further. So I got to this point, which is really nice. And then I wanted to go in and add some color. I decided to make her a lizard, so I thought that was a cute play on the idea that the lizard is on her shoulder. Did some cute new eyes. I've never done this like flick before, like a makeup flick. Even the earrings. I try to do little things like that that really makes them more human, and gives them a bit more character with like the jewelry and styling of them. Obviously I turned them green, so that took them away from being just a strict human. The cheeks, that's a new thing I haven't really done before. And I tried to keep the color palette pretty neutral and realistic as like an outfit that you could wear. It's giving me very like She-Hulk vibes, which not angry at either. The lizard has got some really nice, cute little simple detail. And then I wanted to really plan her in an environment without making an environment, so I added a little shadow. And I think that really works to land her on the page. It feels like maybe there's a sun behind her coming this way, so that's why the shadow's on this side of her. For me, I think this is just like a very nice character study. I don't think I will necessarily turn it into anything or, you know, make it a sticker or an artwork or develop it any further. I think it was just like a really nice way for me to explore how I can draw figures. For a long time, my eye motif has been sort of the signifier of people recognizing my artworks and knowing that something is mine. And I've been really trying to work on what are some different things that I could draw that will then give me more ways for people to realize that it's my work, and especially with drawing humans as well. So because I'm going a bit more realistic in the approach of how they look, I think these little details of the eyes, the cheeks. In a previous video, I started drawing these like flower people that have like this like flower person around, flower petals around the head. So like maybe it becomes this thing where I have a bunch of different sort of like species of figures that live inside Jeff World, which is like these like lizard tongued people, these like flower headed people. And I think that is what will really help me to be able to like expand my visual language of like what's recognizably Jeff, and also allow me to play with the realism side of the figures as well, and just to like free me from always having to draw the same type of thing. Okay, so that's it for my first ever music video sketchbook challenge video. I'm so glad that I finally got to do it, and with my favorite, one of my favorite musicians, Sigrid. I just love art so much. Obviously there's a lot of ideas that I didn't touch on. I think there's like another like 6 that just were left completely untouched, and it's really clear to see that you really can find a lot of inspiration from the things that we watch, the things that are in our world, and that you really can create these new concepts if you give yourself the time to just push things a little bit further. It's really interesting to see the starting point of the inspiration and where they sort of end up now and where they could lead to in the future for me. And I'm just like personally really happy that it worked. To do a video like this, there was a lot of planning and logistics and cabling to work out, and like screen recording and all that kind of stuff, and like audio levels and things like that, to make sure that things weren't like echoing down in multiple different streams. So hopefully Editing Me is happy with how I filmed it, and it seems pretty simple to do, which means I want to do so many more of these music video inspired sketchbook sessions. So if you've got a suggestion of a music video that you really like, or you'd like to see me use as inspiration, put in the comments below. Feel free to subscribe and follow me here and also on Instagram. And otherwise, I guess I'll just see you in the next video. Have a good rest of the day. Love you all.